ज्ञानतिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
चतुर्थी कर्मयोग। अर्जुन उवाच ज्यायसि चेत् कर्मणस्ते मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तत्किं कर्माणि घोरे मां नियोजयसि केशव व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिर्मोहायसीव मे तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येनाश्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्।
You would like to try? Shall we?
अर्जुन उवाच जयासि चेत् कर्माणस्ते माता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तत्किं कर्माणि घोरे मां नियोजयासि केशव।
व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन
बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे
तदैकं वद निश्चित्य
तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येनाश्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्. Very nice. Anybody else? Okay. We'll read the translation. A little bit of purport of both the parts. Arjuna said, O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want me to engage in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than free to work? So these two verses, okay, let me go and read the translation of second ones. My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me. Now here, Arjuna is again starting the question. Now where does this question arise? For that you have to go back to chapter 2, text 49. This is very important. Bhagavad Gita is a very scientific format. No chapter is on its own, so there is a proper link. And if you remember, we discussed this word called Buddhi Yoga there at many places. From 49, 50, various places you saw that. Thank you. About Buddhi Yoga, right? So that what Arjuna is using here, if you read verse number 1, he says, Mata Buddhi Janardana. He's using the same word, intelligence. He's using intelligence. If you think that intelligence is better than free to work, right? Now what is the word that Krishna uses in 249? You will get the link. Buddhi Yoga is there or not?
Yep.
It's there, right? So Krishna here is actually explaining Buddhi Yoga. Now Arjuna thinks, sometimes Krishna bewilders Arjuna in such a way that Arjuna asks question. For whom? Actually for all of us. On our behalf, actually. So that people who come later to understand, they should get a proper clarity. So Arjuna, according to Arjuna, it means using your own intelligence. But actually Prabhupada, if you read the translation or word to word meaning, Prabhupada translates it as actually devotional service, right? Something with relation to Krishna consciousness, right? It's actually, so what Prabhupada or Krishna wants is actually, this is Bhakti Yoga. But what Arjuna is thinking that just by using my intelligence, I am thinking, okay, why should I kill my relatives? Not good. Then better I do renunciation of the work. I don't do it at all. I take sannyas. I leave my work. So that is why Arjuna is asking, oh, you're saying Buddhi Yoga, use your intelligence, but then why are you telling me to kill your relatives? That's a contradiction, right? And in the verse number 2, now, he's using this beautiful word, the first word itself. Vayam Mishrena, right? Vyam, Mishrena. Mishra समझते ना? ये धातु है उसका. That's the root. Mishrain means you're mixing it up. And now I'm getting confused. Which one to do? Right? And here, you see this beautiful names of Krishna giving in verse number 1. How many names of Krishna given? Can you see this? Yes, Janardana, Keshava, yes. Janardana, one who takes away the miseries of Jana, of people, is Janardana, right? And Keshava means, anybody knows Keshava? इसके लंबे केश नहीं, जो अपनी सेंसेस को fully control करे, that's Keshava, right? ये तो मैं भूल ही गया था. तो केशी demon को भगवान ने कहाँ मारा? Where did Krishna kill Keshi demon? Okay, पहले तो केशी demon किसको पता है? How many of you know about Keshi? In what form he came? हाँ? नहीं, गधा धेनु का था. Keshi came in the form of a horse. Krishna put his hand, or should I say arm, inside his throat and will kill him. The place, now somebody may say it's a mythological story. How can such a big horse come? Even if you go to Vrindavan today, on the banks of Yamuna, there's a place called as Keshi Ghat. You've been? Some of you must have been. You must visit that place. It's a very beautiful place. That's where Krishna killed Keshi. So he's known as Keshava. Now, there's a beautiful book called as Hari Vamsha. It was written by Vyasadeva. This is a very, very important point I'm trying to make here. So Vyasadeva wrote this book called as Hari Vamsha in parallel with Mahabharata. So it gives a lot of description, a lot of history about how the creation came, who is Brahma, who is Shiva, the kings in the lunar Vamsha, Chandra Vamsha, Surya Vamsha, पहले वंश ऐसे आते थे. Then of course Saptarishis, the sons of Brahma, etc. It talks about Krishna as well in detail. There comes a chapter called as Bhavishya Parva, chapter 89, text 47. There Shiva is talking to Krishna. It's a very beautiful verse. I'm going to read it for you. It says, Ka iti brahmano nama Isho aham sarvadehinam Avam tvanga sambhutam Tasmat Keshava nama bhak. That's why you are called as Keshava. Tasmat Keshava nama bhak. We're going back. What is Shiva saying about this particular name of Keshava? Very beautiful, right? What he says is, Ka iti brahmano nama. Ka, in Keshava, he breaks. Lord Shiva is saying this to Krishna. So he breaks it. Ka as Brahma. The Ka means Brahma. And Isha means, he says, that's me. Okay? The Lord of the embodied soul. The material world के जो लोग हैं उनका, because Durga owns it, and then I'm the husband of Durga, right? Then he says, Aham sarva dehinam. I am giving the body of the embodied and the Lord of the embodied souls. Then he says, Aham tvanga sambhutana. From you, we both are coming. Both of us arise from your body. Therefore, you are called as Keshava. Actually, Keshava, the another meaning that it becomes, according to Hari Vamsha, is the Lord of Brahma and Shiva is Krishna. Keshava. Very beautiful, right? Like you must have heard, see, this is the beauty of Acharyas. This is given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. There are various commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. That's why we must always hear from the bona fide source. Like for example, there's a word called as Gudakesh. Iska naam hai Gudakesh? Arjun ka. You're Krishna devotee, so naturally you will feel like everything is Krishna's. So that's why we are doing a good work here. So Gudakesh means one who has conquered sleep or ignorance. Sleep means ignorance, right? You know that story, right? Arjuna whole night he could practice. आपको पता है this story? You know the Mahabharata story? So Drona had told that when the light goes off, you should not eat. You should stop eating because you don't know, right, what you're eating. So and one day the lamp was blown off by the wind, and Pandavas were taking prasad. And when they put the light back, they saw Bhima was continuously eating. And Arjuna asked him, how come you were eating? He said, the hand knows where to put it. So then Arjuna said, oh, is it? Then Arjuna said, then that means my arrows will know where to hit, even if it's night. So whole night he would practice. And then we call as Gudakesh. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a very beautiful meaning. So he breaks this word, good. Good. You know, some good खाते हैं. And Guda Kesha. उसमें भी Kesha का Ka, Isha और Sha, ब्रह्मा विष्णु और महेश, जो ब्रह्मा विष्णु और महेश को कृष्ण के सुंदरता, कृष्ण की लीला का आस्वादन करे गुड़ के समान, वो हो गए गुड़ाकेश. So the pastimes performed by Arjun is even more beautiful for Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. And you read in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, you know the Devaki's sons, not Devaki's sons. There's a Brahmana in Dwarka. So Brahmana says when his wife is pregnant, whenever the baby comes, he dies. So Brahmana thinks, how is it possible? I am a pious person. It should not happen with me. He says that means the king must be doing something wrong. So he goes to Krishna. He says, maybe because you are not doing something properly, that's why the praja is having problems. Because I have not done anything wrong. So anyway, the sons are gone. And it is said that later they were taken by Mahavishnu, the sons. And Krishna and Arjun actually go together to get those sons back from Mahavishnu. Vishnu can be three features. One is Mahavishnu, who is lying in the causal ocean. There is no Lakshmi there. He's lying in Yoga Nidra. And it is said when he breathes out, the millions of pores on his body, millions of universes are produced. And all these universes are half filled with Garbhodak ocean. That's where one more Vishnu is lying there. There is Lakshmi, and from his navel, Brahma comes. And then Brahma creates 14 planetary systems on the stem of this lotus. He cannot figure out how deep the lotus is. I mean, where is the source coming from? He's bewildered, right? Yeah. So there are two Vishnus, right? Karna-Dakshai, Garbhodakshai. You can remember the names. Karna-Dakshai, Karna-Sagar. Or you can call him Mahavishnu. There is Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And then there is third one, is Shiro-Dakshai Vishnu, who is in a standing form, who is in everyone's heart. बोलते हैं ना परमात्मा हर एक के मन में है. That is the Paramatma feature of Vishnu. But all of these Vishnus are subservient or under Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. Now somebody may say, why Krishna then comes? Krishna is called as Avatar of Vishnu. The example is given that sometimes a CM comes to visit the jail. Right? Does he come directly or does he come through the jailer? He comes via the jailer. Jailer escorts him, right? He welcomes him. So Krishna, whenever he has to take appearance in this material world, he comes through Vishnu. Sometimes he's seen as, he's an incarnation of Vishnu, but actually Vishnu is one portion of Krishna's energy. It's actually mentioned by Brahma in Brahma Samhita. So this is the beauty of Krishna's names, that every single name of Krishna is so beautiful, right? Gopal, Govind, right? So beautiful names. And Prabhupada explains in this Ajamil pastime of in Srimad Bhagavatam, says that's why old people would name their children after Krishna. Because when you're calling the names, you're actually chanting God's name. And by doing that constantly, you would get purified actually. See the science, very, very simple science, right? Very, very simple. So now we're going to go a little bit towards this third chapter. In the second chapter, Krishna has explained all the different yogas. It's touch-based. Actually now becomes the explanatory part of those what has been already spoken in the second chapter. So Krishna spoke about Sankhya Yoga, like, you're not the body, you're the soul, things like that. Then he goes to Karma Yoga, and then Jnana Yoga, and then he even touches Bhakti Yoga, which is, you read it, like Buddhi Yoga. That's actually Bhakti Yoga. And there's a famous verse also in the second chapter which Krishna explains in second chapter, text number 40. If you read that, that's a very beautiful verse. You must remember it forever. Because if you remember this particular verse, it will protect you from the greatest of all the dangers. Have you seen it? Chapter 2, text 40. You can use the group also. So on the group, Prabhuji will share the link also. Mataji, can you read that? It's a very nice verse. We should read it together. Neha Vikramana Shosti
Pratyavayo na vidyate Swalpam api yasya dharmasya Trayate mahato bhayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
Yes. We all are fearful, right? In some way or the other. Fear of death, fear of old age, fear of disease, fear of losing our loved ones. So Krishna knows that there is a fear. This material world is run by fear. The whole srishti of material existence is running on fear factor only. Fear of losing one's job, one's anything. But eventually, it's designed in such a way that you have to give up everything, whether you like it or you don't like it. Right? Whether it's Alexander the Great, any big king, they have to leave this world empty-handed. That's a fact. What to speak of mortal kings, even Indra, Brahma, they also die. It's a post, it's a name for post. Like one of the names of Indra, who became Indra, is Purandar. The next Indra is going to be Bali Maharaj. So Indra is a name for position, post. And sometimes when Krishna sees that there is nobody who can take a post, he himself expands himself as a Brahma, for example. So it's an important aspect. That's why this even a small step. Krishna is not saying you become perfect in devotional service, then only I protect. He's saying swalpam api. Swalp, chota sa, ek step you utha liya, then it can give you protection from the greatest of fear. I've seen devotees, I can honestly say that. The biggest fear is the fear of death. And I've seen practically, I think we had a shining example in our own community here in Singapore recently when Mataji passed away. Amazing. I mean, her family, the way they, handled this whole episode was so beautiful. And you could make it out that something very auspicious has happened. How can death be auspicious? Allah Subhanahu knew the outcome. Right? Our outcome is based on our relationship. Right here. We feel morose. Yeah, we also feel morose because devotees lose the association of that person. But we know the end result for her or for him, that he has gone much ahead. He has gone closer to the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. And you can feel that in your heart. I've met ladies, Matajis, who come and share their heart and like with faces so bright, talking about the departure of their husband. How is this possible? See how glorious was his passing. I'm so happy that he left in such an auspicious way. Chanting was going on, Krishna's holy name was being chanted. And that's what we heard last time about Khatwan Maharaj. When he was asked by the demigods, you ask a boon. And he was very intelligent. He said, how much time do I have? Is left with me? They said, oh, just few moments, few minutes. According to earthly planet, it was just 24 minutes. This is very important. This is the practical application of Bhakti Yoga. It makes you fearless. It gives you fearlessness. That is what we're looking for, actually. Ask yourself this question. Meditate on this today before you go to sleep. So devotees become fearless. Why? Because they believe they have faith in Krishna. Devotees may lose battles. You may see, oh, why he's a devotee? Why did it happen to him? Why he got cancer or why he got this disease? Devotees are not worried about it. You may end up losing battles here and there, but eventually the devotee will win the war. Why? Because it's a Krishna's promise. Name bhakti pranashati. My devotee will never perish. That's his word. So that's where Krishna now starts the third chapter. Somebody is done. Now he's going to go one by one. The first chapter he talks about is the Karma Yoga. So the first two verses is where what we read today is Arjuna's doubt about the verse which he quotes. Actually, Baldev Vidyabhushan, one of our acharyas, explained this, why Arjuna asked this question, because he quotes previous verses 22:49 to 50 and asks Krishna, you talked about intelligence, now you're telling me to kill your own people. There's a contradiction. Then Krishna's explanation comes in 6 verses from 3.3 to 3.9. Then Krishna further explains from 3.10 to 3.16 the duties prescribed for the living entities according to the Vedas, not according to our own whims and fancies. कई बार हम लोग we think this is my duty because I think this is how I have to do it. No, according to Shastra there are duties of various varnas. Like we are the Grihast ashram, for example. So Grihast ashram has duties which are described in various various scriptures. For example, Manu Samhita, like in Bhagavad Gita talks about austerity, charity. They're very important aspects of it. And once you start applying them in your life, then you realize what they're all about. And then Krishna further explains that from 3.17 to 3.29 that how a self-realized soul also performs its duties. It's not that, I've got into devotional service, now I don't need to do anything. No. So there are prescribed duties that even leaders also follow, because leaders know, as Krishna also explains, that what's that verse? It's not coming to my head. Yad yad achariti shrishtas tattvadeva tarojana. Right? That whatever the leader does, tendency is the common populace will follow. Right? So if you set a good example, then they also follow. Then Krishna concludes these questions of Arjuna in verse 30 and 35. But then Arjuna finally asks one more question. And this is very important. And there Arjuna is asking now, okay, you have explained me this whole prescribed set of duties. But then there are people who do sinful activities, despite knowing that it is not good. Why is it that? And then Krishna gives a final conclusion in the final few verses, 7 verses in 36. And an explanation, of course, is given is why people perform sinful activities despite knowing. And when do they do it? Is when nobody is. Because they think nobody is watching me. अभी बच्चा जब खोलता है रेफ्रिजरेटर और चॉकलेट पड़ा होता है, वो आते बाजू देखता है मम्मी नहीं देख रहे, पापा नहीं है, मतलब कोई नहीं देख रहा. He takes out the chocolate and eats it, right? So it's a thing which he should not do, right? But you still do it, right? Do you do it? Huh? When you were a kid, you're not a kid anymore, sorry. That's a grown-up boy now. Very good. So Shastras give a very beautiful example. In Panch Tantra, there's a very beautiful story. It's a story about a Gurukul. All these great Gurukuls. There was no fixed curriculum. Every student had a curriculum. So number of students, number of curriculums. Not like today. One curriculum and everybody has to pass through that, and then you give them designations, pass, fail, useless, super intelligent. But no, it's not necessary like that, right? Most of the great founders of big companies have been dropouts. So their education was finished, and Guru in the end, last day, told them you have a final test now. So he gives everyone a mango. Alfonso. He goes and tells them, now you go and eat it at a place where nobody is watching. Very interesting. And all the students, they left. Somebody went close by, behind the tree, sat, ate it. And like that, many people, somebody climbed up the tree, somebody hid himself in a cave, and things like that. And during the whole day, these students started coming back and said, Guruji, I ate the mango where nobody was watching. But there was one student who was missing. And late night, he came back. What was in his hand?
Mango.
The mango was still there. And Guru asked what happened. He said, I could not find a single place where I was not being watched. And then he quotes a very beautiful verse. Maybe it's in your group, you can try to check it out. It's from the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st chapter, verse number 42. It's a very beautiful verse. If you can open up in the group. 6:142. You got it? Can somebody read it? The verse? It's a very beautiful verse. Yes. Yeah, continue. Sakshi, Sakshana, that word is being used. So here Bhagavatam explains there are 13 witnesses to all your actions. How many? Not one or two. वो बोलते ना चश्मदीद गवाह लेके आ जाओ. हाँ कटघरे में से खड़ा कर दो. कितना है? 13. Which are those? Mataji, can you read them? Surya, yeah, you can read the meaning. Yes. No, you read the meaning. Translation.
The sun. The sun, fire, sky, air, demigods, moon, evening, day, night, directions, water, land, and super soul himself all witness the activities of the living
entity. So you cannot go to Yamaraj's boss, तुम्हारे पास क्या सबूत है? अरे बेटा, एक नहीं, तेरा सबूत है, तेरे लिए तेरा सबूत है. You see? Very beautiful, right? So it's not that nobody is watching us. And that's where here now Arjuna, is saying that now you're saying use intelligence because you said intelligence is superior to birth. And why people think like that is because people think actually spiritual life means inaction. ये जनरल धारणा है लोगों कि मतलब स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ में घुस गया मतलब ये कामचोर बन गया. इसको अब कोई काम नाम नहीं है, ये सुस्ताया हुआ आदमी बढ़िया है, मजा कर रहा है. अब किसी टेम्पल के ब्रह्मचारी को देखते हैं तो आपको लगता है वाह क्या लाइफ है, मैं क्या फंस गया यहाँ पे गृहस्थी के जंजाल में. इसका अच्छा है सुबह उठता है थोड़ा बहुत जप करता होगा, दिन भर आराम. इट्स नॉट नेचुरल, नॉर्मल है एक परसेप्शन. But actually it's not like that. Spiritual life is extremely active. You can ask here our host, before coming to Krishna consciousness and after coming to Krishna, when are they more busy? They're more busy now. So this is very, very important. Spiritual life does not mean some escapist formula or escapism from the problems of life. No. It actually means to face them head on. To become more active for Krishna. Now you know for whom I really need to become active, right? It's like something like when you're hungry, how eager you'll go to the kitchen to cook for yourself. But if your kids are hungry, how eagerly you go to the kitchen and cook. Why? In the second case, the love for children is much more higher. That's why you're able to do it out of love. You love them more than yourself. So the devotee also gives Krishna the precedence because of his love for Krishna. So he's able to do much more what he would do for himself. This is very, very important. Because people feel sometimes that spiritual life is in action. And that's what Arjuna is trying to connect. Oh, you told me intelligence, that means I should not act now. I should be taking sannyas. So Krishna says no. It's not intelligence yoga, it's bhakti yoga, which means there has to be action, but in a proper way. Now, here, of course, in material world, we see people, we put efforts, and sometimes people put extra efforts. They think that by putting extra efforts, we will get extra. Do we do it not, right? But actually, Krishna says it's not that. There is a quota. We read about it last time in Sri Ishopnishad verse. How many of you remember that verse? Which was the first verse, right? Was it first verse? Isya Vasya Midam Sarvam. Okay. So it says that when you come here, your quota of happiness and distresses is fixed. Actually, Prahlad Maharaj was supposed to come. Okay, now there's a very beautiful logic Prahlad Maharaj gives in Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto. And we should try to analyze this. How many of you, when you were in a healthy state of body, you felt कि काफी दिन हो गए, I have not felt sick? काफी दिन हो गए, बीमार हुआ नहीं, बीमार होना चाहिए. How many people feel like that? No. But one fine day you feel you are sick. Right? Did you want sickness? Sometimes unhappiness also comes. Right? Did you want it that I should be unhappy? No. But it comes on its own accord, without you wanting it. What is misery, by the way? Do you know? Definition of misery? Please write it. If you have pen and paper, write it on pen and paper. If not, write it on the slate of your heart. Misery means something unwanted. I'm serious. Mercy means something which I don't deserve and I get it. Right? इसलिए प्रसाद का अर्थ है संस्कृत में प्रसाद. तो प्रसाद को क्या लगता है? खाने को है, मतलब हाथ आगे कर देते हैं, डालो, ठीक है? That is correct. But prasad actually means mercy of Lord, mercy of Krishna. Mercy means I got it without deserving it. Right or wrong? That's, these words are very, very important. In the same way, misery means something which is unwanted. You tell me now, raise your hands. Sir, did you want it to grow old? Although you're still young, but did you want it to grow old? Never. You wanted to stay young forever. Nobody wants old age, disease, death, unwanted thing, but it comes. That's why they're called as miseries of life. So they will automatically come. And Prahlad Maharaj is saying, in the same way, happiness will also come on its own accord. Don't try to extra endeavor. He says extra endeavor. That does not mean that I stay at home and the company will come, my boss will come with a paycheck after every month. No. You work hard for 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours every day, and then come back. But focus something extra on your spiritual life. Create that balance. Now somebody may say, but Prabhuji, I have a friend. I was giving a session one day in a corporate, in a company, and he said, I know a colleague of mine who works more hard and gets overtime, gets some more luxury. He said, I see it, he's getting it. But you have to understand, his prarabdha to enjoy that is fixed. Abhi kya hoga, he's doing double shift. His body will get a little sick. He'll pay some doctors. So the quota of his happiness, overall, is fixed. So Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto, it's a very beautiful. I don't remember the chapter. I think it's 14, chapter 14. Please read this. It's on Veda base. There's a beautiful story of Chitraketu Maharaj. He's a very famous king who has thousands of wives. Don't ask me how did he manage, but you know. But he didn't have any son. So there's always little morals who will take care. You would normally want to pass on your legacy to your children. So one fine day in his kingdom, Angira Muni, who is the mental son of Brahma, who came from the mind, was born out of the mind of Brahma, along with Narada Muni, came to see him. And of course, they knew everything. So they had a chat with or discussed with king, and king said, I'm little morose because I don't know who's going to take care of my kingdom when I leave. And Angira actually told him that actually in your life, Pranabdha, there's no son. But he started to implore, please, you can do something, change my karma or something. And Angira gave him a blessing. He did some yajna, and there was some nectar that came out, some sweet rice on it. He said, you can give it to your queen and you will have a progeny for your kingdom to run. But he said, please mark my words, the son that will be born will be the cause of your happiness, and he will be the cause of your very severe distress also. And Chitraketu Maharaj started to think. He said, when he will have stomach ache, and I will be sad, he will cry and become sad, and he will give me happiness also. And he said, now you should name him as Harshashok. One who is उसका नाम क्या रखा? हर्षशोक. भैया मेरे हर्ष का भी कारण बनेगा और शोक का भी कारण यही है ना? कुछ लोग मैंने देखे माता पिता बहुत कोशिश करते हैं बच्चा जब होता है उनसे तो डिवीजन टाइम निकलता है ना क्या ऐसा इसके लिए it happens sometimes because that's not under your control. So anyway, as time passed by, Chitraketu Maharaj got a son. It's described in Srimad Bhagavatam, very descriptive, very beautiful. It's a very beautiful section, especially for Grahasthas, where one must read it. So, and then the baby was born, and now it is natural for a husband, if we have like many wives, but the wife who conceived this child, who gave birth to this child, she became very dear to the king. And typical, what happened to other women, other queens, they became jealous. More better word is envious. They became very, very envious. You can understand it because you're in a female body. They became very envious. They said, oh my God, he's not giving us any attention. Right? Now sometimes when you have children, wife is more towards the kids. Like I felt like, what happened to my wife? I had a serious discussion. I said, what happened? You don't talk to me. I get chapatis I made in the morning, which I never had. She said, now yahi milne wala hai. Luckily, she has started a little bit now again, so I'm happy. No, because my kids are grown up. So they became very envious. And they discussed, they said, this because of one person we are having this situation, is this child. The child is grown up. And what did they do out of envy? This is where you can go out to. They fed poison to that child. They killed him. And when the child did not got up from the cradle, and his mother was weeping like torrents of rain coming from her eyes. It was like rivers, and she became mad. Her hair was disheveled, her clothes, and she was weeping and crying and sobbing. And then Maharaj got to know, Chitraketu Maharaj. When he got to know, he just fell down from the throne, unconscious. He ran, and then he was looking at the body of his son, and he started crying and crying. And you know what to do? In that time, Angira Muni and Narada Muni came down. And then they told him that this was the only how much you could have in association of this particular school. But king just could not take it. Isn't it? The first thing what we do in such cases, the queen, whom she was blaming, do you know, for all this? No? 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 That's a very exalted statement. Exactly. Blame Krishna. Kya kiya? Don't you have a sense that, he was just a child and this and that? And that's natural. We all do it. With the first person we blame God, Krishna. Why did you do this? And she was crying, blaming Krishna. Then Narada Muni just told this dead body, he said, my dear child, why did you leave? And this child, by some transcendental thing, he woke up. And he spoke pure Bhagavad Gita. And he said that I came out of my karma into this house, into this home. And according to my karma, I had a relationship with them for a certain period of time. Now the time has passed, I have to go to and take up another body. अभी ये शरीर छूट के मुझे एक और शरीर लेना है, वो तैयार है. और मेरे कर्मों के अनुसार मैं यहाँ पे आया. मुझे जाना है. वस्त्राणि जीर्णानि यथा विहाय, हमने पढ़ा था सेकंड चैप्टर कि जब आपका कपड़ा गंदा हो जाता है तो क्या करते हैं? अब चेंज करते हैं, कपड़ा बदलते हैं. तो कौन नया कपड़ा पहनेगा तो रोना शुरू करता है, अरे यार क्या हो गया पुराना कपड़ा. वो छूट गया शरीर, छूट गया, आगे बढ़ते हैं. And when child spoke pure philosophy, and then Chitraketu Maharaj was a little passive. And then of course he left the body again. He just came momentarily to talk to his father that, please, why are you crying? Dehinosmin yatha dehe, right? Kaumanam yauvanam jara tatha dehantas prapte dhiras. One whose why his intelligence is not bewildered by such a change. So it's a very important aspect of sometimes we try to squeeze वो गन्ना का वो जो आपने गन्ने का जूस पिया हुआ डालता रहता ना, आप सुनते भैया बस करो, कितना इसको निचोड़ने वाले को सूख है, वो फिर भी उसको ऐसा डालता है. Right? You must take that every single drop, and you are standing there thirsty. Boss, भैया हो गया, आप दे दो, डाले ना. So हमारा भी कभी कभार मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में, भौतिक संसार में कुछ ऐसा ही प्रवृत्ति रहता है. इसमें से कुछ न कुछ अंतिम समय तक निकालते हैं. Even on deathbed we are thinking about कि बंटी का वो सरकारी नौकरी तो लगा नहीं. He's on deathbed and he's thinking something nonsense, right? So this is very important, that whatever prarabdha we have, we will eventually. So what is devotee's stand in such cases is that devotee is happy whatever Krishna gives him, and he's also happy whatever Krishna does not. But he puts his endeavor. So when you have such a state of mind, your chances of maintaining equilibrium in the face of failure and success is very, very high. You don't become too morose जब failure आएगा, and you don't become too happy also when something nice happens. You equipoise. It's okay. Part and parcel. अगर आज success है, तो failure is around the corner. If failure is there, then success is around the corner. So devotees don't get overexcited. They know whatever good is coming in my life is because of Krishna's blessing. So please write down, I'm going to speak something very two sentences which are very important. How a devotee takes it. Success and failure. Because the question will come that devotee के life में भी तो success and failures भी आते हैं. It's not that Krishna, Arjuna's son was killed or not. Can you imagine? Krishna was there on the battlefield, right? His son was killed. He came back in the evening and says, where is everybody? Right? So devotees also have failures. But how does a devotee see them? Point number one, when a devotee gets success, devotee bows down to Krishna, says, Krishna, I did not deserve it. I did not deserve it, but you're so merciful. You're honoring me in such a way. Thank you very much. When you do not take credit, the load on your back is very low. Understand? Very important. Now when the devotee has failure, so devotee says, Krishna, I deserved much more. But you're so merciful, you're giving me a little tiny. आज खाली मेरा अंगूठा में से खून आया. My feet was about to cut today, but you're so merciful. I'm getting a little token of that pain. So in every circumstance, this person is always grounded. There's rarely a case of devotee getting into depression. Because of his, he knows in success and in failure whom to give the credit. When it's success, he gives credit to Krishna. When it's failure, he says, actually, I was deserved to go through hell, but because of your mercy, I'm here. And this brings us to a very beautiful point, which my spiritual master speaks about quite a lot, and he shares it here. He says, any desires independent of the desires of the Lord will only be a cause of bewilderment and suffering. Any desire independent of the desires of the Lord, which Arjuna is trying to do here. He has his own desire. मुझे करना ही नहीं है. It's independent of the desire of the Lord. Will only be cause of bewilderment and suffering. That's why Arjuna was bewildered, because his desires were totally separate from Krishna. And once our desires are linked to the desires of the Lord, then we attain happiness and peace. Now, of course, then the question will come, how do we know what is the desire of the Lord? Right? Simple, right? So, the best and the easiest way to know the desire of the Lord is to ask a devotee, is through a devotee. And we're going to read this before we close. There's a section in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, Text 53. 7, 5, 53. Maybe it's already on the group. Chandra who is faster than the speed of mind. Mataji does not agree with me.
Happiness.
Yes. You can take the mic better. It's a very beautiful verse.
यथा त्रिवर्गं गुरुभिः आत्मने उपशिक्षितम् न साधु मेन तच्छिक्षाम् The teachers Shanda and Amarka instructed Prahlad Maharaj in the three kinds of material advancement called religion, economic development, and sense gratification. Prahlad, however, being situated above such instruction, did not take them, for such instructions are based on the dualities of worldly affairs, which involve one in a materialistic way of life, marked by birth, death, old age, and disease.
Yes. Can you read the purport part? That's very important. Where they mention the 12 Mahajanas are mentioned in the verse above. Yeah.
One must follow.
Yes. Can you?
One must follow in the footsteps of such great personalities as Lord Brahma, Narada, Lord Shiva, Kapila, Manu, and the Kumaras, Prahlad Maharaj, Bhishma, Janaka, Bali Maharaj, Shukdev Goswami, and Yamaraj. those interested in a spiritual life should follow Prahlad Maharaj in rejecting the education of religion, economic development, and self-gratification. One should be interested in the spiritual education. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement is spreading all over the world, following in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj, who did not like any of the materialistic education he received from his teachers.
So these 12 people who are mentioned here, that's a beautiful verse. You should read it later during your free time. There's 12 personalities called as 12 Mahajanas. Like you have 12 Alvars in South India. Anybody from South India? South India? Yeah, 12 Alvars. We have Alvars, right? And one of them, of course, is Andal also. There's a temple here in Perumal Swami. It's a nice, beautiful temple of Andal also. So these 12 Mahajanas were mentioned here: Manu, Yamaraj, Janak, Shiva, Brahma, Kumaras, Shukdev Goswami, right? So we follow Mahajanas. Mahajana ena gata sapanta. One must follow Mahajanas. In order to know the desire of the Lord is by actually following the instructions of the Mahajanas. That's how you will know the desire of the Lord, is by following Mahajanas. And for us, like we say, okay, no, it's Brahma, you're talking those personalities, I have no access. But we have access to one of the Mahajanas who walked amongst us, Srila Prabhupada. Through his Vani, through his books, through his lectures, is guiding us, giving us a very practical way of approaching Krishna consciousness. Spiritual life does not mean to go back to the forest and do tapa and all. That's not possible in this age. Right? So Prabhupada is a very beautiful way of practicing Krishna consciousness in our day-to-day life. Like we always speak about it, ABC, association, B's books, C is chanting, and D is diet, is prasad. So whatever you make, you offer it to Krishna, and then you take. Very simple, right? Okay? So we will quickly summarize what we studied today. We, of course, gave a quick snapshot of the whole summary of third chapter. We also saw the link where the Arjuna's question was arising was coming from the second chapter. The word Buddhi Yoga in 249, 250, right? And then Krishna also explains that the Buddhi Yoga which he explained is nothing but Bhakti Yoga. And we also read about that there are many witnesses to all our actions. It's not that there is no witness if nobody is seeing. And how many witnesses are there? 13. At least you should remember a few of them. And then we also talked about how extra endeavoring does not help. Right? There is a quota which is fixed for you. You can be happy with that. Right? And then we also talked about what is the devotee's way of looking at failure and devotee's way of looking at success. How many of you remember that? How does a devotee see success? See that as mercy of God. I didn't deserve it, but because it. And failure? I deserve much more, but you're merciful. Give me this. Then we talked about, of course, that any desire, independent of the Lord, will always call for trouble. Let's be very honest about it. Arjuna was trying to do the same. Krishna's desire was that he should fight, but Arjuna was saying, I don't know. And that's why he was bewildered and confused. Well, these words are not mine. It's mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita itself. Vyasadeva is writing that, yes, he was confused, bewildered, everything. And then the best way to know the desire of the Lord is to follow the Mahajanas, which we read in this particular verse, 7.5.53, where Prahlad is saying that there is no point of just getting the material education, one also has to have spiritual education. And spiritual education is possible by following the instructions of the Mahajanas. And for us, the pure representative of all these 12 Mahajanas is Srila Prabhupada, through his books, You can imagine He's creating a revolution in our lives also. This Bhagavad Gita is written almost in this translation at least, this particular one, was published in 65, 66. So since 60 years, millions and millions of copies have been distributed. I was recently reading some scores in India. 10 lakh Bhagavad Gita were distributed just by 5 ISKCON temples in India. How many? 5. We have 700. They distributed 10 lakh of them. Oh, I forgot. In 30 days. In the month of Marathon. You see these Bhagavad Gitas everywhere. And many years later, when I became a devotee, my brother reminded me that as a kids, we watched a movie and there was this dog or something, and I don't know, he shoots him or something, that bullet hits, and he opens and he says, "Oh God, you are protecting." That Bhagavad Gita is also Prabhupada's. My brother reminded me, and when we went back, we saw it was actually Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. So, yeah. So thank you very much. Do you have any questions or comments before we do the one round chanting with all of you? Any comments or any point you like today during the discussion?